tale. Well, there's a place I've come to know well, led by a man named Sty. He's full of stories, he is quite a guy. Sit around the campfire and hear him tell his tale. Some may be able to relate to him quite well. We're all just people looking for a place to go. Well, Sty has made one, and it is quite a show. Come meet Sty, he's quite the guy. If you're feeling lonely, come and make a friend. If you need a story, on Sty you can depend. His voice is soothing like a lullaby. Sometimes he brings a tear to my eye. Sit around the campfire and hear him tell his tale. Some may be able to relate to him quite well. We're all just people looking for a place to go. Well, Sty has made one, and it is quite a show. Come meet Sty, he's quite the guy.
Well, happy Sunday afternoon to all of you. Hey, here we are. Another Sunday. It's great to see y'all. Hey, nobody's out in the chat today. What's going on? Nobody's got anything to say? Well, I got someone down in the basement. She's always got something to say. We're bringing her up. There she is. There's Gemma's Journey Grace. Good to see you, girl.
Thank you for having me on. Hey, everybody. What's up? Happy Sunday.
Yeah. For a lot of people, it's snowy Sunday over here in the U.S.
Whereas for us, it's rainy Sunday.
Is it raining?
Yeah, raining today.
Yeah, ick. I don't like.
Usual.
I've asked a few Brits that what is their most important clothing item, and so many of them said it'd be my raincoat or my umbrella.
Yeah.
And I just laugh. Yeah. That's like here in Wisconsin in the winter. It's it's my parka and my winter boots. That's the most important.
Yeah, we wear our boots too, and like a lot of us wear like our little jumpers. Like I have my jumper on because it's cold. So cozy clothing is a must.
Oh, well, hi, Kimberly. Good to see ya.
Hi, Kimberly. What's up?
Awesome. Yeah. It's Sunday. Oh, darn.
I know this week's gone really quickly.
This week just disappeared for me. I mean, I only had 2 days I was able to work. Otherwise, it was raining every day, and then it started to snow. It snowed the last 2 days. Friday and Saturday it snowed. And now the snow it's pretty much so gone. There's a light dusting of snow, but most of the snow is gone. And, well, that's good to hear that. You're great. That's great that you're great.
That's good, Kimberly. That's good.
That's good. Good to hear. And my doggone snowblower still isn't running. So Running Water and I were talking about that before the stream. That's my priority. I got to get that snowblower running because here in Wisconsin we never know. We might have light snow like we had the last couple of days, but yesterday about noon they put out a winter storm advisory, and said we were supposed to get 2 to 4 inches of snow overnight. We didn't get that. We just got a dusting of snow. It all went south of us. So I'm glad that I live where I do because we're closer to the lake, the big Lake Superior, and we don't. A lot of times those storms get pushed a little south of us, but we get them and just never know. Sometimes we'll get that lake effect snow and we'll get a foot or two of snow just overnight. And I need my snowblower running because it's way the heck too much for me to shovel. I mean, I'm not shoveling up this place out. Holy God.
That's not the best thing you to be doing either.
Health-wise, I can't do it as fast as I used to, but I can do it. I had a doctor's appointment last Thursday, and I was thrilled. There's an update. So I go see the doctor, figuring, well, she's going to do all my blood work, and she's going to check me out, and she's going to tell me I got to do this and do that. Lo and behold, she told me, guess what? You're off all your meds except for your insulin. That's all you just need the insulin for your diabetes. Otherwise, you're off all your meds. I'm off my heart meds. I'm off my cholesterol med. I'm off of my blood pressure med. I'm off of, I take no pills now. All I do is take 2 shots of insulin a day, and I'm off all those pills. She said, your blood work is perfect. She says, everything checks out perfect. She said, other than your weight, you're pretty much so back to where you were. She said, I said, well, I don't have the stamina. She says, that'll come. That's coming. She says, I can already see that your stamina's improved because you're a little lighter in your step and you move a lot quicker than you were. She said, no, you're doing great. Everything's perfect. And now tomorrow I go for my chemotherapy, and the only issue she brought up, and I got to talk to my chemo doctor tomorrow about that, is there's a thyroid hormone that is a little lower than it should be. And she said, that's from the chemo. She said, so talk to him. They might adjust your chemo to bring that back up. But she said, otherwise, everything's perfect. She says, I'm not worried about you at all. I said, I said, hell, you never said that about me back before I got sick. She goes, well, no, you weren't in actually as good a shape as you are now. I said, well, that's cool. And she says, so I do need to see you back here, though. I said, oh, when? She goes, 3 months from now. So
nice.
So I don't even have to see the damn doctor for 3 months. That's cool. I'm happy with that.
I'm very happy for you. That's awesome news. Wow.
Yeah. Other than I didn't get my yard done before the winter hit, I did do a second part to my Fix the Yard video. I got to get that edited tomorrow or Tuesday and get it posted. But I got a lot of work done, but winter's on me. I won't get it done before I just have to shut down. Because with this snow now, I got to put the lawn tractor away for the winter, and I'm kind of dependent on that thing for moving wood around.
Yeah.
So I got a lot done. I'll have to finish it in the spring. Hey, Colin. Good to see ya. It's been a while, Colin.
Hi, Colin.
I'm just taking a quick look at something.
It's good to see everyone in the chat. How's everybody doing? I hope everyone's having a good weekend. I know for me here in the UK, it's Remembrance Weekend today. So there's been a lot of servicemen and women attending services. And me and my nephew actually spoke to a few of them earlier and said thank you for their service and shook a few of these former soldiers' hands who we bumped into in our local town earlier. So to all the veterans out there, thank you very much for what you've done and what you do for your country. It's very much appreciated.
You betcha. We had our Veterans Day was Friday. And of course, we treat it like a weekend-long celebration.
Hey, Chuck.
Hey, Chuck.
Hey, Chris. Welcome to the channel, Chris. He says he's new here. Welcome.
Yeah, I see that. I got 3 things going on at once here, like a dummy. Oh.
Hey, Rebecca. Welcome. Good to see you. I hope you're having a great day.
Yeah. Get over here and get everybody pointed out here. Okay.
Good to see you, Chuck. I hope you're doing well.
There's Chris. Welcome, Chris. Welcome. Yeah, come on over on a Sunday afternoon and hang out with us, folks. Yeah.
Yes, I had the most amazing stories. Like, you'll be very, very entertained, and you'll learn a lot being here.
We talk about anything and everything, and
we do.
Our experiences, our life's experiences. We all have a story, We all have a story. So that's what I like to do, is get everybody together and we just talk about ourselves, And plain old Chuck, there's a buddy of mine, been around for years now.
Chuck.
Yeah. Chuck, you're great. And Rebecca, it's awesome to see you.
Rebecca, I went to the football, you go to call it soccer. Yesterday, me and my nephew actually went to watch a live game.
Oh wow!
Yesterday. So that was a lot of fun. And they did a kind of they based it on the veterans. They had all the veterans come out onto the stadium pitch and do a salute and everything. So that was really cool.
Yes, neat.
I will be uploading some footage about that tomorrow. I did do a little bit of recording when I was in the stadium yesterday, and I'm going to upload it to my channel tomorrow, just showing you some of the ground and stuff like that. So that's going to be up tomorrow.
That's nice. I love hearing when you get out.
Yeah, I've been out a lot today. Today I went out, took my nephew to the toy store and got him some toys today. So I took him out. Hi, Amos.
Hey, you picked the right place. I get only the greatest people here, and Amos, you're one of them. Thanks for stopping in, Amos. That's awesome. Now it doesn't show up, but which is upsetting. I don't know why it does that, but
I don't know. StreamYard has issues. It seems like.
John from Adventures in the Heartland is a member for 19 months. He's a hiker in the memberships for my channel. And it is so good to see you, John. He popped up that each member once, I think it's once a month, they're given a highlighted statement. If they put a comment up, it's highlighted and it shows how long they've been members. And he used that feature today, member for 19 months. And
hey, Adventures in the Heartland. I hope you're doing well.
Hey, Farming Outdoors. Great to see ya. Great to see ya.
My StreamYard's way delayed because now I'm only just seeing the messages that you've read out. I'm like,
right. I sit here. I've got YouTube real time on that screen. On this screen, I've got StreamYard. I see it over on that screen, YouTube, first. Then I wait, and then it pops up in StreamYard about 2 to sometimes 5 seconds later. John, I'm glad you can still be here. That's so sweet. Yeah.
Hey, Farman. I hope you're doing good. It's good to see everybody.
Yeah, listen away, listen away. Hang out, listen away. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
The
Yeah.
yeah, I just going back, making sure I'm not missing anything. I don't believe I am.
Says, today I saw your old video, watched it. You shared it 3 years before. He loves you. Aw. Hey,
That's
Justin.
yeah. His comment. He watched From the Heart. It's an old video I did after my open heart surgery years ago.
Okay.
That would be 6 years ago when I had that open heart surgery. And he watched that and left a wonderful comment. And it is so glad. I am so glad to have you tagging along, Farman. Yeah, if you're not aware, Farman, I just went through another major surgery like that. Just back August 4th, I was discharged from the hospital to come home. But I had stage 3 esophageal cancer. They removed half of my esophagus and the top 20% of my stomach. And with stage 3, they, without the surgery and without the treatment I took, they said that I had about 60 to 90 days is all I had that I would survive. I said, let's go for it. Let's give it a shot. And it worked. It worked. I'm back. I'm back, man. It was hell. It was hell for about 2 months. It was pure hell. But
Yeah.
I'm back. I'm back. So, yeah.
Hey, Grammy.
It is so good to see Justin here.
Hey, Robert.
Yeah, Justin's deer hunting. Go for it, man. Go for it. Build that freezer. Yeah. There's Robert. It's great to see you, Robert. And there's my sweetie. Yeah, native good. Yeah.
Plain old Chuck says, take everything they say about me, divide it by 3, then believe half of it. Yeah, Chuck, I would say the same thing about me too.
Yeah. So true.
I'm just, what you see is what you get with me, and I'm real, raw, authentic, and that's that. I'm just me.
Yeah, Farman. I got good news on Thursday. My doctor took me off of all my pills. I still use insulin because I'm diabetic, but the rest of the pills are gone. My beta blocker for my heart, don't take that anymore. My blood pressure pills, don't take that anymore. My cholesterol pills, don't take that anymore. Pill after pill. But my med list was so long. I should put all those meds out on a table and take a picture of them those things and say, guess what I don't have to take anymore. If you saw those meds, you'd go, oh my God. Yeah, it was insane. I was taking in the mornings, I was taking 12 pills. I was taking 9 in the evening. So yeah.
Yeah, Chuck, I get it.
Yeah, Chuck, yeah.
We can only be ourselves, Chuck. I've learnt that in the last 5-6 years. Actually, be my authentic self. I'm like, you know what? I'm me. If you don't like it, tough. That's it. I'm not going to change for anybody. So.
Hey, good for you. Good for you, Farman. If you can quit, more power to you, man. More power to you. I've been smoking now for over 50 years, and I quit once. I did. I really did, for 5 weeks. And I took a new job that was so high stress. I wasn't even on the job for 2 hours, and I was back smoking a pack a day. I just knew. I pulled my staff into my office. I said, I want to know who smokes on my staff. And they all looked at each other like, oh my gosh, he's going to make us quit smoking. And the ones that smoked raised their hands. They said, each one of you pony up a couple of cigarettes. And they go, what? And I said, there's enough of you here. I should be able to get at least a dozen smokes off of you. Come on. I want them. You want to work for me, pony up some smokes to get me through the day. And they did. I had quite the assortment of cigarettes I had for the day, but they.
Yeah, I imagine. I'm sorry, Chris, that you lost your mum 2 years ago.
Yes.
And so I'm sorry. I lost my auntie 6 years ago in September. So
that is.
I'm going to empathise with you. My auntie deteriorated quite quickly from what she had. Sty knows how much that upset me. I was very, 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 very depressed when I lost my auntie. That really sucked.
And it's so much harder too. It's hard enough the way it is just losing somebody. But when you lose them to something like cancer, something that eats away at them and it makes their quality of life so poor, and difficult at the end. That's tough. That's tough to get through. It's just not the way you would like to see them go,
Oh, absolutely not. I think that was the worst I've ever seen my auntie be. In all the years she had health issues, but when she had cancer for the final time, it was just destroyed everybody.
Yeah. It's a huge burden, not just on the person with the disease, but with those that care for them.
Yeah, absolutely. The family, the ones that struggle too.
Yeah. And that was my biggest issue, was with what I was going through. Part of me knew that it was giving me a pretty good chance of surviving it. But it was also miserable for my family and those friends of mine. And I felt a lot of guilt that I was putting that burden on them to try to save myself. And well, of course, that's foolishness. They were pissed at me for feeling that way, but but I've been there. I've lost loved ones to cancer and to other diseases, and I just know what you end up going through, watching someone you care about having to deal with that. In my case, I was fortunate. I am 100%. I'm considered 100% cancer free right now. So, it's amazing. It's amazing. That was one nasty tumor. Boy, that was one nasty tumor I had. There's a gal that worked for me. Oddly enough, we went to college together.
Yeah.
And she ended up going to work for me. And then we went our separate ways. And she stayed where I had been working, and I had moved into a different position. Well, that gal, when I was in that new position, she was having some issues, and they were trying to figure out what's wrong with her. And here she had a cancerous brain tumor, and they were going to do a very, very risky and iffy procedure to surgically remove the tumor and put her through all these treatments. And they said, literally, it's all experimental. They didn't expect her to survive. Well, now that was 18 years ago, and her and I talked just 3 days ago. We were chatting away. She said, you're a case like me, where they give you 2 to 3 months, and then they manage to cure you. And she's been cancer-free for 18 years. They managed to remove that tumor, and she's still working. Man, she's working full. And I told her, I said, I thought about her a few times, the fact that she managed to beat the cancer she had. And that's tough, man. Having cancer on the brain is not good, not good at all. And it took her a couple of years to totally become herself again, but
Yeah.
but she did it. She did it. It was so good to have a conversation with her. Yeah. The yeah. Yeah, Chris, happy,
Yeah,
happy,
Chris,
happy.
I was there when my auntie got really poorly towards the end of her cancer, and she went from being a functional adult like we are now to all of a sudden being like a big child. She couldn't do anything for herself. She lost the function to drink out of a
Yeah,
cup. She couldn't cut up her food. It all had to be cut up for her. She was so skinny she couldn't even manage to put her own clothes on. It was just she couldn't do it. It was just
yeah.
it's horrible.
It's hard to watch somebody wither away like that. Like Chris is saying, they waste away to nothing.
Yeah,
My
it's horrible for them and the family, not just for
my
anyone.
my one grandfather, he he had lung cancer that spread, and it went into his bones and his blood, and so there's no curing him. But the progression of it was terrible. They I was there when it happened. All they did was they had four people, and they two up by his torso and
Yeah.
one on each leg, and they lifted him off of his bed. And another gal, she pulled the sheets off. Everything was making the bed underneath him while they suspended him. They set him back down on the bed, and I was in the room while they did the whole thing. And he said, "Boy, my right leg hurt so bad." He says, "And my ribs on the left side, they hurt so bad." They said, "Well, it's probably from the pressure of us holding you up." And he kept complaining that it feels worse. It's getting worse. The pain's bad. Well, they ran him. They have X-rays done. They did X-rays. His leg was broken in two places, and he had 3 broken ribs. All they did was lift him off the bed and set him back down. His bones had become so fragile from the cancer that they would break just by pushing on them. And so when he passed away, he had a total of 17 broken bones in his body before he passed away.
Ouch.
Just he broke one bone in his arm trying to eat. He was using his fork trying to cut something, and a bone in his arm broke from it. That's right, Colin. Final throes of cancer are hard to watch. Lord forbid. Enjoy every day, good folks. That's it. Enjoy every day you have, even the worst day.
Oh yeah.
The my last bout taught me that I don't believe I'll never get as low as I did during this last procedure. I hit the bottom. I hit my life's rock bottom. Nothing will ever be worse than that. Nothing will ever be worse. So yeah, it's just you have to. Oh, Colin,
Thank you, Colin, for the donation.
that is so that's sweet of you. That's sweet of you. The I'll tell you what though, I still thank you to Gemma and Samantha Lee. They helped me get through a bad spot. a little over a week ago.
That's what family do. We're there for you, and we're there for everybody who we care about. And you've done the same for me over the years. Like you've been on the phone with me when I've had really bad meltdowns and screaming fits and
You know, and you're right, Gemma. We have our YouTube community has become so family like that.
yeah.
That if one person's hurting, everybody's hurting. You know, so yeah, we try to rally around each other. Um, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah,
That's,
like if you guys don't know, Sty does a lot behind the scenes with people, and especially with me, and he knows how my autism affects me and stuff. And he's been there when I've literally been the most vile, disgusting, angry, needy, obsessive, complaining person because I've not known how to get it out of my head. I'm literally been like, and exploded at him, Samantha. Like, I don't know how the hell they put up with me sometimes. The phone calls, I'm like, blah, 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 and
I don't remember what the actual situation. It was back when we were dealing with some troll kind of things,
yeah,
and you were you were just distraught. You were so upset, and
yeah,
just,
that was
and
not
boy,
good.
she was just rifling on about this and that, and I started to giggle a bit and laugh a little. And she goes, "It's not funny, Sty." And I said, "No," I said, "I'm enjoying this because I'm getting to see the real you." I said, I said, keep it up, keep it up. Yeah, just keep complaining because I'm enjoying it because you're getting all of that off of your chest. Get rid of it. Just vent it, girl. Just vent it. You have the right to do that. And she was so concerned about the people that may misunderstand where she's coming from. And I told her, don't worry about them damn people. If they care at all, they'll understand. If they don't care, they won't understand. So don't worry about them. Just worry about yourself. Get it off your chest.
Yeah.
And
I think that's what makes us family because you're so understanding of people's needs and you understood where I was coming from at the same time. You gave me strategies to cope better, and I'm like, oh, so if I don't get triggered by that, I'm not going to get triggered by this. And then now I'm like, well, that was pointless because now I didn't even react to it. It's just silly.
And I've gotten to see Gemma come a long ways. I mean, that she rightfully so has a lot of trigger issues when she's in the public, out amongst the public, because the public, they don't understand what her needs are. So they can trigger her so easily. And I told her, you know what you need, girl? You need some fresh air. I wish you could just get out. If you were over here, I'd take you camping and go. What did she do? She went camping. She went with her dad. They went camping, and she filmed out there at the campground. I was so proud of her for taking the bull by the horns and just doing it. And she came back. She says, "I'm so proud of myself. I'm so happy." I felt good. I felt so good that she did that for herself. I didn't do anything. All I did was suggest. She did the work.
But you helped me to actually go out and go, you know what, go take a walk, like, and show us what you do. And I'm like, so I literally filmed like everything there enough. I'm like, I filmed my breakfast, I filmed me going for a walk, and I filmed the fish and stuff like that in the lakes. And people are like, Gemma, you actually do that? I'm like, yeah.
Yep. She can. She proved it.
Fish. I've got my own fishing rod. I can cook my breakfast. I've done barbecues, bonfires. I do it all. I do everything. I love it. I love camping. It's great. Especially a lot for autistic people. It's great. It's woodland. It's fresh air. It's out in the nature. You're out in the wild, and it's the best place to be for someone like myself. Absolutely.
And that's the thing that a lot of people that don't have trigger issues and that they don't even realize if you can get outdoors where there's not a lot of people where it's generally just the outdoors and you. It is so peaceful. It is
Yeah.
so peaceful and so rejuvenating. You can be in the outdoors and hear the birds sing, and it's not irritating. I
No.
sit here in the house. I'll be in the studio here working away on something, and the dang birds are out. That guy got bird feeders out front, and they're chirp, 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 and they're driving me nuts, driving me crazy. But I can go sit out in the woods, and the birds are all beep, 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 chirp, 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 and I feel so relaxed because it's just me and the birds. Nothing else is interfering with it. It's
Yeah.
just me and the birds, and that's the thing is the outdoors is a healing thing. The
Absolutely. Thank you, Colin, for your kind compliments. It's because of people like Sty who actually help motivate me and give me guidance and support. Like if it wasn't for Sty saying to me, "Oh, Gemma, what about this strategy? What about this? What about this?" and without him, Samantha, and the other people who've had my back, I wouldn't be able to cope as well as what I do now. So even because I've got family on here who help
yeah,
me, I can actually go, "Hey, what do I do?" Rather
right,
than
right.
so it's just about asking for help when you need it. That's the thing.
Thanks, Farman, for showing up today. Hey, I hope you do get back to visit with us. In the meantime, you
Take
take good
care,
care of
Farman.
yourself, Farman. The yeah, Colin. I love the wilderness. Always loved camping. Now in the United States, but before in Ireland. Yeah, yeah. I mean the outdoors. I tell people that I don't care where you live in the world, anywhere in the world. The outdoors is the outdoors.
Yeah, the outdoors is amazing, and depending just where you've got places you can go, and there's beautiful woodlands here that are amazing to go
Yeah.
camping. So
There's places in England. Now this goes many years back that I just oh man, I would love to go visit. And this fella that I got to know from England quite well, got to know him in person, and he would tell me about his life in England, how things are. And he lived in a little community outside of London somewhere. But
yeah,
he would hike all the time. He hiked all over England. And I said, but England is so crowded. He says, well, there we have our real crowded places and we have the not so crowded places where homes are spread out all over.
yeah,
And he says it's hard to find somewhere in England where if you get on a hill, you're not going to see a home. You're going to see a home. But
yeah,
he said, but we have our woodlands and we have our trails. And he says, one of the amazing things in England, and he says it's very common in Ireland and Scotland, they have what they consider the right of the person to travel ancient trails. He says there's footpaths that go through England that have been there for 600, 700, 800 years.
yep,
And they'll go right past your front steps, those trails. You
yep,
cannot stop somebody from walking that trail. They have the right to cross your property on that trail because that trail has been used by millions of people over hundreds of years.
yep,
It doesn't belong to anybody. It belongs to everybody. And I said, that is awesome. We have places that are somewhat like that here in the US where they're public trails where you can't restrict a person from walking those trails. But none of those real ancient trails like that. I would love to go over there and just hike some of them. He says some of them are amazing and some of them are routed and marked. He said you can follow them and you can see old stone walls where the old original home was or a piece of land that was owned by somebody
yeah,
500 years ago, and it was walled up along the trail. And he said, it's just amazing because the trails will take you into a small village somewhere, a small community, and you follow that trail right through that community, takes you right through the heart of the community, goes out the other end, and it's heading off towards another community. He said, yeah, they're fun. They're very fun.
There's a lot of beautiful like woodlands, what we call bridle paths or walkthroughs here, where you can go for trail walks. There's a lot, especially probably within like an hour of where I am. There's the old RAF base that has a lot of trails that you can walk on, which is a really nice, pretty area to go walking in.
Yeah. Chris, I don't know what mountains you're talking about in the north.
He says North Carolina.
In North Carolina?
Yeah.
I have not had oh yeah, there it is, North Carolina. I have not had that pleasure to hike North Carolina. I hiked a little bit of the Smokies, a little bit on the Appalachian Trail. In the whole picture, very little. I'm hoping to do some more now that I've got kind of a renewal on life. I'm hoping to hit some of those areas that I just haven't had the opportunity to experience yet. But I lived in northwestern Montana for 4 years, in the backcountry for 1 full year, all the way off the grid, up in the backcountry with my family. There was 6 of us. So the Rocky Mountains I'm very familiar with. But a lot of the eastern and southern mountains I've driven through, but I haven't had the pleasure of hiking and camping. I'd love to. I would love to. You're right by the Blue Harper's Ferry. Awesome. Colin, that's a great area. Great area. Very historic area, too. I would love it. I would love to hike around the Blue Ridge. Yeah. A lot of history in the eastern, especially the eastern third of our country. Colin's still in.
You guys who like countryside and scenery, I'm going to be taking a train ride on Thursday. I'm going to record it as I'm traveling on the train and show you the countryside and the rail station and the inside of the trains and stuff. So I'll be doing that on Thursday. That will go up in the afternoon once I'm back from the meeting I've got. But there'll be a train vlog going up on Thursday.
Great. Good for you. Good for you.
Yeah, I love recording on the trains. I actually got the train operator who runs my local rail stations actually asked me to record some more footage, because every time I go on their trains, I tell them I'm recording. They're like, "Oh, can we use it for publication?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's on my YouTube channel. As long as you give me credit for it, then yeah, I'm happy for you to use it."
Mm-hmm. Yeah. When you say still Northern Virginia, there's an experience I had. I never did a Sty story on it, so here's a kind of a freebie on the Sty stories. When I drove over the road truck, quite often I'd end up going through the coal country of West Virginia. And I don't remember the little town it was, but it had a big coal mine there. And I stopped there, and there was a Dairy Queen. I stopped there for some ice cream. And I got a real lesson in coal country, just stopping there and visiting with some folks and having myself some ice cream. While I was at that Dairy Queen, right there, I mean, you could see it. It's big as day, that big coal mine there on the side of the mountain. All of a sudden, this big loud horn goes off. You could hear it through that whole little town. I mean, that big horn going on. And all of a sudden, here come all these coal miners down off that mountainside, and there's a bunch heading up. There was a shift change. Well, these guys coming out of the mine, out of the coal mine, a bunch of them headed right for the Dairy Queen. And they're all ordering ice cream cones. I'm watching these guys, and I'm chatting with a couple of them. And as they take a lick off that ice cream cone, their ice cream, that's when you realize all of a sudden their ice cream cone would turn white. Every ice cream cone, by the time those coal miners had a hold of it, turned a grayish color. You couldn't really, you thought they all looked white until they licked it.
Yeah.
There was coal dust on the ice cream. That's what was in the air. And it was kind of hard for me to finish eating my sundae that I had gotten because I'm thinking I'm eating all that coal dust. These guys are doing it every day. Well, one of those fellas chatting with them, I told him, I said, yeah, you know, the coal mining really had my interest. Those guys work hard, you know.
Yeah.
And he told me, he said, well, he says, why'd you stop here? And I said, well, I'm running way over. I got to take a break before I can drive again, commercial truck.
Yeah.
So I got to sit here for 4 hours before I can roll again. He goes, well, he says, follow me. I'll take you up to the house. I'll fix you a cup of coffee. I said, oh, okay, sure. So I locked my truck up and I walked with him. And he's got his lunch pail. We're walking out. We get to his house. We had to walk quite a ways up above town. And there's this little old shack kind of house. And it was him, his wife, and 3 kids living in that house. And we walked in the door. He introduced everybody to me. And his wife goes, I hate to spoil a good time, but she said, we're short on coal. Well, here they're using a coal stove for their kitchen stove. And she said, we're out of coal. I need coal. He says, I'll go get some coal. And he says, come on, Sty. He says, we got to go get coal. We walked out on their front porch, and there are all these metal buckets sitting on the front porch. He picks 2 up and hands them to me, and I'm holding these 2 metal buckets. And he grabs a couple, and he says, let's go. And we went around the corner of the house. There's a pickaxe leaning against the house. He grabs that pickaxe, and we head up the hill. And here's this little quarry, and that coal is exposed. And he says, as I chip it up, you fill the buckets. And he started swinging that pickaxe and breaking coal off of that outcrop of coal. And I'm throwing those chunks in the buckets. Once the 4 buckets were full, off we went with the 4 buckets back to the house. And I said, that's pretty neat that coal's up there and that you can just go help yourself to it. He said, I better be able to help myself to it. That's on my property. I said, you have got to be kidding me. He says, no. He says, technically, that coal is part of a vein that belongs to that big mine. But he says, because it's on my property, they have not bought rights onto my property to harvest that coal. And they don't know, they couldn't care less that I'm taking a few buckets of coal out of there every couple of days. He says, we eat the house all winter with it, and we cook with it. And I thought, if that isn't the neatest thing in the world, the way those folks were living and the simplicity of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There's Colin. He arrived here in 1986, Pennsylvania, little town called Ashland, pure coal mining country. I was so privileged. Ain't that cool? Yeah, I live in the town of Ashland in northern Wisconsin, and we were an iron ore and logging center of this region. Had huge piers running out on Lake Superior, where the big boats come in and they'd load all the iron ore on them and they'd ship them down the Great Lakes down to the mills, and it's pretty good, pretty good. Yeah, I remember him talking about this retired Marine and his wife that brought him here. His wife was the great granddaughter of Jack Keel, the leader of the Molly McGuires. That's cool. That's cool. The history, like I said, everybody's got a story, right?
Yeah, we definitely have. It shows how vast and different we are. Like I'm in the UK, and yeah, I can tell my own stories that I've gone through and share my experiences with guys across the world who I never thought I would be able to.
That's like, yeah, in fact, today I was looking at my family tree. I had hired a company, a firm, to do my lineage, and looking at it, and I believe it was my great great grandfather that he was born on a ship in New York Harbor on his way from Wales with his parents in 1776. He was born in New York Harbor, the year of this country's independence.
Nice.
He made it. He made it to become a natural citizen. If he would have come just a year later, he would have been considered an immigrant. But no, he made it in time to be considered a natural citizen under the new nation of the United States. So that was pretty cool. Yeah, Colin. Yeah, the wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald. Ain't that something? I'm not going to go into the details. I'll do that some other day. But we had a family acquaintance that went down with the Fitz. Yeah. His last name was Armagost. So if you look at the crew roster for Edmund Fitzgerald, look for Armagost. That's the man. I've met him a half a dozen times or more before he went down with Edmund Fitzgerald. That was something.
Yeah.
Like they say, Lake Superior doesn't give up her dead. Nobody on the Edmund Fitzgerald was ever recovered. Most Lake Superior wrecks, those who go down with them, are never found. They never recover those people. Lake Superior is very deep. I believe the deepest point is 1,800 feet.
Ouch.
And it's very cold. Yes, Gordon Lightfoot did do a very great tribute to the Edmund Fitzgerald. In fact, I'm a tattoo freak. This arm's still vacant, but except for the top half. But this arm, a full sleeve, except for this under here. That's all I got to finish there. But I don't know if I'll ever get anything done. But on my left leg, that was a project that was supposed to get done and never got done. And my artist that does all my tattoo work was going to do the Edmund Fitzgerald from my knee all the way up to my hip. He was going to do the whole Edmund Fitzgerald in the storm. And Samantha Lee, sweetie. Oh, it's so good to see you. So good to see you, sweetie. Yeah. How I knew Mr. Armagost was his sister. My ex-wife and I knew his sister quite well. We were quite good friends. And we went to a couple of family picnics where he was present. He was home. It wasn't often he was home. That's why I only met up with him a half a dozen times or so. And he was a hardworking, awesome character. He really was. And it was a sad day when he went down with the Fitzgerald. We have a lot of, where I live up here in northern Wisconsin, we have an awful lot of mariners up here. People that work the big Great Lakes ships. Now, we call them boats up here because they're on fresh water. But when you've got a boat that's 900 to 1,000 feet long, I'm sorry, but that's a ship.
That's what we would call a ship too, yeah.
These things are huge. I mean,
boats for us are usually the more tinier, miniature, like little ships we call boats. And then we have what we call yachts, which is like what we call the posh people have. And it's so we have yachts, we have boats, and then we have ships.
Right. Right.
Talking about.
Hey, that I tell you what, almost all of the ore from the Minnesota Mesaba Range, all the way down here to northern Wisconsin, all that iron ore, almost all of it went to the steel mills in Ohio. Yeah, Chuck, you betcha.
Hey.
Yeah, Texas Gamer Chick, good to see ya. Yeah, almost all that ore. In fact, that's where the Edmund Fitzgerald was headed. It was headed for Ohio, and when she went down, but that's that. The people of my area up here are so attached to Lake Superior. I mean, commercial fishermen. Nowadays, they're all tribal members. They're all Native American owned. There are no non-Native American commercial fishermen anymore. It's not allowed. But yeah. Lake Superior is massive. It surely is. But a lot of commercial fishermen here, and I had the pleasure of an individual, Joe Duffy was his name, Native American. He had a fishing tug, and he'd set nets for trout, whitefish, and walleye with his tug, and then he would pond fish for herring. They call it pond fishing. It's a big round net they set up, and little clause in the rules and laws. Non-Native Americans are not allowed to commercially fish, but you can be an employee of a commercial fisherman. So I wanted to experience it. So Joe said, "Hey, come on my tug." I said, "I can't legally." And he said, "Well, sure you can. I'll give you $10. He says, "Because then you're working for me." I got on that tug with him, and his tug was a 40-foot tug, and we could haul 3 tons of fish in that tug. It's amazing putting 3 tons of fish in a 40-foot boat. But getting that boat, it was a little difficult for me because Joe was this short little fella. He was only about 5'6". Well, he built the cabin on his fishing tug to his height. Well, I was banging my head all the time on the ceiling of that damn boat. I had to walk hunched over because it was so low.
Yeah.
I found out the only thing I wasn't allowed to do on that boat, I couldn't run the lift that lifted the nets, and I couldn't take fish out of the net. once the fish were out of the net, I could fillet them or pack them, but I couldn't do anything that had to do with the catching part of it. And that was because of the laws, the way they were. So he taught me how to fillet and fillet quite quickly, man, because you're pulling these nets and you're getting hundreds of walleyes, you're getting hundreds of whitefish. And he wanted those all filleted by the time we hit port. And so you're out there, rough seas, man, that boat's going up and down, left and right. And you've got to be able to zip the fillets off those fish while that boat's moving. And it was quite interesting. In fact, here's a little bit of a story for you. He had some people from Chicago up here visiting the area. They approached him and they said, we'd like to go out and see the Apostle Islands, but we don't want to take that big commercial boat. We want to see what it would be like to go out there in a boat like your fish tug. And he said, well, I can do that, take you for the tour. And he asked me, he says, you want to come along? I said, well, sure, I'll go with. He said, it's going to be an all-day affair. You want to see all 21 of the Apostle Islands. I said, okay. We're out there. Now, these two people, you could tell, very, very city folk. I mean, they aren't outdoorsy. We're out on that boat. And on the sides, you got these big doors that you flop open. And we got all the doors open up, both sides of this boat, so that you could see out real good. The fella says to Joe, he says, you wouldn't have any water or something on board? We're getting pretty thirsty. We've been out there for a couple hours. And Joe says, oh, yeah. Well, I'm going, oh, this will be good. He walks over, and there's a cup, metal cup, hanging from a cord in the boat. He takes it down off of its hook, reaches out over the side of the boat, scoops up a cup of water, and goes to hand it to him. They go, whoa, we're not going to drink that lake water. Are you kidding? He says, oh, it's the best water. And he starts drinking. He drank that whole cup. And he rinsed that cup up, got another cup, and said, it's the best water. You'll see. They both drank some of it, and they're going, yeah, that's really good water. They drank that water. About 10, 15 minutes later, the guy goes, oh, boy, okay, now I drank that water. I got to pee. Where's the bathroom in here? Joe says, right over here. And he walks to the other side of the boat, and he goes, there you go. He's pointing off the side of the boat. He goes, what do you mean? He says, well, you just pee off the side of the boat. He's peeing off the side of the boat, and all of a sudden he stops, and he turns and looks at his wife, and the look on her face.
Oh, dear.
She says, we just drank that water.
Uh-oh.
Yep.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Well, Lake Superior is so big that, that little bit of pee in that lake didn't affect the lake. Yeah. It was pretty funny. Just the look on her face. Just the look on her face. Samantha Lee, I am so glad to see you, girl. Thank you so much for coming over.
Good to see you, Sam. How are you? I hope you're doing good.
So nice. She got new glasses. I remember the days back when we do lives with her, and she's in her kitchen with her big dark rimmed glasses on. She looked like one of my secretaries when I was in my office days, and she was so prim and proper, careful about what she said, everything. Oh, she has changed. She has changed over the years.
I love how Samantha is. She's very, very honest, and she gives it to you how she sees it, and I love that about her. I just love how direct and honest she is, and she's beautiful. She's just a lovely person.
again falls into my realm of I just adore real people. I love real people, and she's a one of us real people.
Oh yes.
She's her. She's pure Samantha. I love it. I love it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Samantha is beautiful. She's just stunning. She's a very, very nice person.
Yeah. She is. She is. Hey, I gotta do this real quick, guys. This only takes 50 seconds, so don't anybody go anywhere. But these are my great channel members, my followers, my members. This isn't to push people to become members. This is just to give recognition to those that are. And I love every one of them. They support my channel. They've been here for so long. And check these channels out. You get a chance. This takes 50 seconds. Don't anybody go anywhere. Yeah. Great people, I'm telling you. They're great people. Great people. If you become a camper member, by the way, and you're a camper member for 3 consecutive months, I'll send you a channel t-shirt. You become a outdoor lover, that's the highest tier. 3 consecutive months, I'll send you a hoodie. So just a little point of information. Now, I like what Cullen is saying. Yes, without reality, we have nothing. Always for the truth. Speak loud and even louder. That's it. So many people keep to themselves and they have no input. And it drives me crazy because I know everybody's got a story. And I've had so many. Oh, before I go on, you betcha, Chris.
Take care.
It was great having you here. Oh, awesome. And hey, hope to catch you on that flip side. We'll see you. You take good care of yourself. But anyway, people that don't want to share their stories, and I try to prod stories out of them, and they go, nothing interesting has ever happened to me. I said, what do you mean? Nothing interesting ever happened to you? Did you have a favorite pet when you were growing up? Some of them will say, oh yeah, well, I had this little dog named Spot. I remember when Spot, all of a sudden they're telling me about themselves. I got you. Because to me, life is a story.
Absolutely.
Life, it's something I used to always push, and that's this, folks. Your trip through life takes you down many roads.
Oh,
yes,
it does. Yep.
And it does. It takes all of us down many, many roads. Don't tell me you don't have a story.
It also teaches you many lessons as well, because there's lessons that you don't think you would ever learn. Like with me, I've learned so much about myself.
Oh, got a little hiccup there. Jim has got a little hiccup.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there.
That was weird. Yeah. Hey, Lawn Dog.
That was weird.
Hey. Yeah.
Hey, Lawn Dog.
Some of us are not stable people. But that's a story in itself. Instability. Oh, what the heck? That's real. I mean, uh, the our stories. There you go. Our stories and testimonies can help so many other people. That's all I hope for. Is that when we tell stories, that it just maybe it brings a little pleasure to somebody. Just it makes them happy to hear it. Maybe it reveals something to them they never thought of. Maybe it brings attention to them of something that they could correct in their lives and maybe have a happier life. Any little thing that they can get out of somebody's story to me is good. And yeah, long dog. Let me tell you about my pet rat. His name was Ben. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Let's talk about rats, eh? Um, but yeah, I say, and how did Sty become a storyteller? My grandfather on my father's side really was the one that got me on the storytelling side because he would tell me stories of his life and things that he's seen and experienced that just was amazing to hear. Was it something special? No, he wasn't the president, he wasn't the governor, he wasn't a senator, he wasn't nothing special. He wasn't some big name doctor, he wasn't some war hero. But boy, he had an interesting life. A very, very interesting life. But to him, he loved to tell you his stories, but he wanted to hear yours too. And I think back to the way he used to look on that, and I'm at that point now where I've been telling over 200 stories I've told on the YouTube channel, and I want to hear more of other people's stories. Yeah, there you go. There you go. There you go. See, and you were saying you're unstable. Now, somebody might say talking to fish, that's a little odd. What in the world are you talking to your fish? Hey, I know people that talk to their plants. I mean, come on. So what? I mean, so what?
My dog all the time.
If you had good conversations with your fish, then doggone it, good for you. Then I don't care if it's a fish. Plain old Chuck. That's pretty good.
Hello, Ryan.
Hi, Ryan. Good to see ya. Yeah, Chuck. I'm not great at telling stories, but I'm an expert at listening to them. LOL. Yes.
I think we all can be, Chuck, because there's a time to tell stories and there's a time to listen to people. So we all gain skills of listening to people. I've done that over the last few years. I've learned to listen to people who are telling me their stories, and I'm like blown away by someone. I'm like, whoa. So it's always important to listen to other people because they actually teach you stuff that you need to know half the time.
You know what makes the best storyteller? Just open your mouth. Just open your mouth and open your mind and your heart. Be truthful. If you want to tell tales, I do that too. I haven't done it on my channel much, very little, but I'm a tale teller too. I'll tell tales of things that never happened. And it's because of all the experience I've gotten out of life listening to other people's lives and how things have gone. it gave me enough color for my palette that I can paint a story if I need to, and that's a tale. That's a tale when you create a story. If you're just talk about yourself. Talk about things you've experienced, things you've seen, things you've done. We do that all the time. Folks sit out here in the chat and they say, "Oh yeah, I, I'm from Northern Virginia," and blah 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 blah. Well, that's a story,
Yeah.
and it comes so naturally by just talking. Just tell us what you think. Tell us what you feel. Tell us what you've experienced. You're a storyteller. You may not realize it, but you are. And it's when you're doing it through a conversation that is a true storyteller. And that's the best you can get as a storyteller, is just talking about life's experience.
So, Colin, you've got a really good comment there. Spending time with grandparents, absolutely. Like me and my dad are actually at the moment going through our family history with my grandfather because he has dementia in a care home, but he's actually still able to tell quite a lot of stories, and from that we've actually wrote down a journal of our family history stuff, and we're actually researching it ourselves now.
Sure.
So that's going to be a lot of, I'm going to actually do a lot of, I'm actually planning to do an interview with him, and I'm going to upload it to my channel because he's a former veteran as well. So we're going to talk about his veteran days and stuff like that. So that's going to be part of my story on my channel as well.
Ryan saying I got a lot of stories, but most are crazy though.
Oh, Ryan, depends what you call crazy, because I'm sure we've all got our own crazy form of stories. I know I have.
I'll tell you what. Some of the best stories are the crazy ones. Crazy ones. You bet. I've told some stories about some situations through my life that are pretty crazy, and they get the best views. I mean, people want to hear about some of our craziness, you know.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
Ryan says I've written a few down, but most I will take to my grave. Well, that's it. That's why I tell stories, is I don't want to take them to my grave, because there are so many things that I wanted to ask both of my grandfathers and my own father and never got to. And they never had the chance to just share that with me without me asking. There's stories in their life that I'm finding out. Like I'm looking through my family history, and it'll say so-and-so was here and did this. Well, that's the title of the story. That's not the story. I wish they were here today, that I could say, I found out this happened. How did that happen? What happened? What really happened? Give me the story behind it. I could ask that if they were here, but they're not. And I wish they would have shared it with me, instead of me finding out later that there was this untold story. So when things happen in life, share it with people, because then the story stays alive. It goes on. It goes on and on and on, you know. And people got mad at me because when I went through this whole bout of cancer and they told me I was going to die within 3 months, I said, okay, you know, the end is the end. I can't stop the end. And I had someone say, well, we need you to keep telling us more and more and more. And I said, yeah, but what I've managed to get out so far, that I'm still here.
Yeah.
Even when I'm gone, I'm still here. The channel will still be here. My boy, Running Water, said, yeah, we'll keep it maintained, keep your channel up and running. So you'll always be able to go back. I got 1,000 videos on my channel. You want to learn about Sty and hear his stories? It's there. And that means I live well beyond the grave. So So that part of it doesn't bother me. What would concern me is I'm sure there's going to be many a thing that happens between now and my end that if I didn't share it with people, nobody'd ever know. So share it. The
You never know the impact of how you could help someone. Like, even if you put up a 10-minute video or an hour, 2-hour live stream with tips and stories, like, you never know that one person who could click on it and that could change their output of how they see life. So you never know, just by your actions of uploading something, that could change one person's life. So you should always share things if you've got something to say.
See, and that's it is, and I'm a firm believer, nothing in the world that happens today hasn't happened before. But sometimes we don't know that it's happened before. And by sharing our lives and our stories, you might share a story with somebody and they go, I'm going through that. But your story has to do with something that was 40 years ago. And I'm going through that thing today. And here you are 40 years later telling me about it. I didn't think I was going to get through this. Well, by golly, you just proved me wrong. I guess I can get through this. Your story proved it. Bravo. Only because you told the story did somebody realize someone else in the world has gone through that. You know, we're not doing anything new. Nothing that we do is new when it comes to mankind, when it comes to people. Technology has changed. Things like that have changed. But we as people are still people.
Yeah.
We are still, and we ask questions all the time. And the more we share with each other, the less questions we have.
Absolutely. Oh, yeah. I found that massively. Oh, yeah.
Ryan, nothing.
How do you learn?
You're absolutely right. Right, Ryan. Right, Ryan. That's nothing new under the sun. That's right.
If you don't ask questions, you're never going to learn, because if you don't ask and you don't quiz people about certain things, then you don't learn. Asking questions is how you learn and how it can change people, just by asking.
That's it. Is society has changed. The thing is it's people have lost a lot of old ways and developed new ways, but they don't realize that the old problems are the same as the new problems. They don't realize things that worked in the past will work today. They don't realize it. And if it's not shared, you don't share that with people. They'll never, they don't even know what they've missed. In fact, looking at the family tree today, I see where my grandfather in 1946, he was a millwright, which was a pretty high position at the time. His annual income was $1,400. $1,400.
Wow.
I've had a few jobs where I made more than that per week. And that's what he was making per year. And he managed to raise, well, his family, him, his wife, and 2 children, on $1,400 a year. My mother was another example. I was looking at her old original mortgage in our family home. And she refused to ever refinance her house. She had a 30-year loan on that house, mortgage on that house, her and my dad. My dad passed away. And they kept telling her, you can refinance. Times are tough. You can refinance. We'll give you some money. No, we'll get through it. I'm just going to leave the payments where they are. I'm going to stick to it. she made her final payment 30 years after they bought that house, and she didn't pay a penny more than what they agreed on the day she bought the house. And her monthly payments for that house, they bought the house in 1964. Big, beautiful piece of property with 2 cabins on it. It was a beautiful property. $80 a month. And that included her taxes and insurance on the house.
Oh, wow.
$80 a month. That'd be about 100 pounds a month.
Yeah.
Can you imagine paying 100 pounds a month for a home and almost 3 acres of land with
No
two cottages on it?
No chance over here.
$100
No
a
way.
month? And that, so it costs you $1,200 a year for your home. And she refused to ever refinance that house. And when they bought that house, I don't recall the total price. It was about $12,000 or $14,000. When she sold the house, she got cheated on that house. A couple of us in the family wanted to start a lawsuit against the individual that purchased it from her, but she refused. She said, I fell for it. My fault. No. But she sold the house for $48,000, almost 4 times what she paid for it.
Oh, wow.
But the land appraised for $200,000.
Ouch.
Yes. And all she got was $48,000. Oh, we were furious.
Yeah, ouch, that's not great.
Yeah. Ryan, my dad, from 1951 until 1969, he was the chief of police of our community. I was born in 1957. But he was the chief of police of our community for all those years. He was the very first chief of police of our community. Prior to becoming the chief, he was the town constable. They had a town constable, and basically all he did was walk around with a nightstick at night, check the doors on the businesses, and he'd stroll through the neighborhoods and make sure everything's peaceful as the town constable. Then he became the chief of police because the town had grown quite a bit. And yeah, it was a whole different world. It was a whole different world back then. Oh, there you go. Yeah. Went through the police academy in 91. Yeah, 600 hours. Yeah.
That's a lot of training, Ryan.
There you go. Right. From the age of 12 years old on, yeah. All we had was mom in the house, and mom stuck there for us. Yeah.
Yeah, my parents divorced when I was 5. My parents divorced when I was 5. I'm now 34, so.
Yeah. You bet.
Absolutely, Colin.
In every walk of life, police, military, first responders, you have all the good that comes with those 3. There are bad apples in the basket, but that's in every single walk of life. And for them to target every police officer out there because you got 1 or 2 bad apples in the basket is the worst thing in the world. It's the worst
Absolutely.
thing. Yep. Same with the first responders, firemen, EMS. You got 1 EMS person that doesn't do a good job, all of them are bad. One fireman does something that's not right, the whole fire department's no good. I can't stand that. I cannot stand that. The
I think, like you said, it's really dangerous to lump people into labels like that, because I've worked with a lot of what you call EMTs, police, and over the years, and just because one or two of them make a bad mistake doesn't mean that all of them are bad people. I've trained over 600 medical staff so far, and just because one or two of them might make a massive mistake doesn't mean that all of them are going to make a massive mistake. It's two people out of a whole bunch of thousands.
yeah.
It's so silly. Sure,
Yeah.
I've been there when there's been people make mistakes in the medical and police community. I have. I've seen a few bad ones, but it doesn't mean they're all bad.
Yeah, law and dog. It's a narrative. It is.
Yeah, absolutely it is. Yeah.
And that's it is really it's a small part of this world that is trying to shoot down police officers and first responders and our military, and the silent majority knows better. They know better.
Yeah, Colin, I've spent the last 7 years working on
nothing to be sorry about there. Times were different. They were so different. My upbringing, I swear, I wish, and there's no way, there is absolutely no way to turn the clocks back. But I would love to have my grandchildren experience my life growing up in the 1960s. I loved my life in the 1960s. I couldn't have asked for any more. Wow, Ryan would have had 30 years of service before he quit next year.
Ryan.
Yeah. I never got to serve in the military, but I've been in law enforcement. I've been a first responder, fire and EMS. Public service has always been something I've stayed involved in, always stayed very involved in it.
I'm quite lucky. I'm a granddaughter of veterans, and one of them used to also serve in the local police after her RAF time, which was my late grandmother. She served in the RAF. She was the only woman on her base who actually served, and she then went into community policing and served on the local police until she gave it up when I think she was in her early 60s when she gave it up, and she died when she was 84. So she was fairly active, pretty much. So I'm quite proud that I've got military and police in my family. So
yeah, Ryan. Yeah, back in 2013. Isn't it hard to believe you turned the clock back 19 years? Or no, not 19 years. 9 years. 19 years. Oh man, I could turn it back 19 years, and I haven't even turned it back a third of my life. Yeah. Hey, James, Gape, good to see ya. Thanks for stopping in. Awesome seeing you. Yeah. Yeah, I think back in the old days, we just don't see it anymore. Communities just aren't the same, I guess. But, oh my gosh, when I was growing up, we had the fireman's steak dinner, and they put up these big tents, and they're barbecuing steaks for the whole damn town, and it costs you $3, and you got a big T-bone steak and all the side dishes and everything with it. And the fire department put that on. And we had something going on all the time in town. It was always a big community affair. I wish I had a picture to pop up of my pop on what we called Dock Day. At our house when I was growing up, we had these two great big docks, boat docks, that we stored at our house. And in the spring of the year, after all the ice is off the lakes and it's getting warm, it's got a time to put the docks in at the public beach in our town. My dad would get the town crew together and a bunch of volunteers together and then let the whole community know it's dock day. We're doing it on Saturday. Well, on that Friday, the crew would show up and they'd scrape and paint the docks, all fresh new paint. And then on Saturday morning, they'd come to the house and get those docks. They're in big sections and they'd haul them down to the lakefront. And the whole dang town would show up. And everybody would help put those docks out. And they put the docks out and they clean the whole beaches, all the beaches up and get the park area all cleaned up. And we'd have this huge town picnic. Everybody would bring food. And it was just a big, awesome town affair. And you'd have easily 400 or 500 people show up. And they don't do that anymore. They don't do stuff like that anymore. The community wants somebody to do it for them.
Yeah.
We'll hire somebody to go do that. You don't have to. Just get everybody together and let everybody do it together. It'll get done. And those guys that you want to hire, they should be willing to show up and do it as part of their community service. Yeah, let's give back to our community. Give them a day a year to help them get the beach ready for summer. What? Everybody wants to be paid for everything anymore.
Yeah.
And captured in Singapore, 30,000 men, not a shot fired, then put on the 10 Death March, buried in Burma. All the White Crosses, he was in the Royal Signal Corps. That's awesome. That's awesome. And there's some history for you. There's some history for you. And that's what I love, you guys sharing like that, because it's in that chat, and it's going to stay in that chat for as long as there's a YouTube. People can come back, watch this live stream down the road in the future, and they'll see that live chat going. And that comment, that story will be in that chat. That might just trigger somebody to say, I'm going to get on and I'm going to look at the history of that. I want to find out what he's talking about, the nitty-gritty details. But that's the seed. You planted the seed for people to look back and look at what people had to do and how they served years past that allowed us to be who we are today. Yeah. See, that was one thing too, is our VFW Hall and our American Legion Hall always doing something big for the vets, always. And the whole community would show up. The whole community would show up.
We do have community groups here who do things for like veterans and things, but they're usually, you either already have to be part of it or you have to have family to go into it. So it's really hard. Hey, where's some pictures?
Great to see your words and pictures.
We do have our Royal Legion, our Royal Air Force, British Legion groups that look after the vets and stuff. So we do have them.
I used to, as a kid, I used to hang out at our VFW hall, Veterans of Foreign Wars. And why, as a kid, did I do that? We had, at our VFW hall, we had 7 World War I survivors at the VFW. And to sit and listen to their tales of World War I were amazing. It was amazing. Yeah, it's police and firemen too. Yeah, my dad is chief of police in our community. He had big community events going on 3 to 5 times a year. Christmas was one of his biggest ones. I mean, there was not a kid in our community that did not have a Merry Christmas. My dad saw to it. Just the slightest hint that a family was going to do without. Oh, no, they didn't do without. Halloween, he drove around in the squad car. No siren, but he had his light going usually. His big old red flashing light on the roof. Back seat, front seat loaded with big boxes full of candy. And he's going through the whole town all evening. And the kids running up to the squad car, and there he is just loading their bags up with goodies. When I grew up, you never ran from the police, you ran to them. You didn't run from the police unless you did something really bad. Otherwise, you ran to them. And a lot of times when you do something bad, it wasn't terribly bad, you'd walk up to the cop and you'd admit it.
Yeah.
Because you'll get disciplined, but not severely. You'll be taught a lesson.
Yeah.
And it was.
I've got a story about that actually. When I was at school, at high school at the time, I used to have a little coat with a hood on, and one of my friends used to be a prolific shoplifter. I remember one time I walked out of the shop and the security guard at the door scanned me. He goes, why is the scanner going off on your jacket? I went, I don't know, shouldn't be. He goes, have you stolen something? I went, no, I never steal. I said, why? He goes, well, how come I've just found these 2 chocolate bars in your hood? I was like, they weren't in there. I said, that wasn't me. And then my friend, she puts her head down to try and avoid the security guard. I'm like, you can try and blame me. I've been in that shop every day. They know me. They know my family. I'm like, no, that's not okay. And then in the end, she ended up admitting it to her, but she nearly dropped me in it. She was like, oh, well, it's the first time for everything, isn't there, Gemma? I'm like, no, I'm not taking the rap for this.
Right.
At the time, like £1 or 50 pence or something for 2 little chocolate bars, but I'm still not going to risk it. So
right.
She owned up and was like, oh, yeah, it was me. I just thought I'd use Gemma's hood because I didn't have a bag and I thought Gemma could just walk out and no one would notice. I'm like, yeah, with 2 big lumps in the back of my head. Yeah, I think someone's going to notice.
Yeah. Hey, JCT. Hey, sweetie.
Hey, JCT.
Great to see you. Great to see you. Let's see. Yeah, the whole woke thing. Yeah, you're right. The whole woke thing has really changed stuff.
That's another topic.
Ryan, I love that. Cops would call you daddy. You're damn right. That's right. When I was growing up, you weren't worried about them cops. You were worried about mom and pop finding out that you got
Oh
yourself
yeah.
in trouble. No, the cops were easier to deal with than mom and pop. But what did the cops usually do? They say, "I'm going to take you home. I'm going to have a little talk with your parents, and then they'll deal with you." Oh no, officer, please take me to jail or something. But no, don't. But oh hell no, they take you right home. They take you home. And
Oh
for
yeah.
me, it was tough being the son of the chief of police.
Oh.
I was assumed guilty the minute I walked in the door at home. My pop always said, "Just the fact they suspect you of something, you're guilty." I said, "No, but Pa." And he'd say, "No, no, no. You, your family represents peace and order in our community. Your whole family does, not just me as chief of police. Don't ever give people the impression that you're falling short of peace and order in our community. And if somebody accuses you of something, you had better have one hell of a sweet story behind it, or you are going to be held accountable." And oh boy, yeah, don't take me home to mom and dad, man. The
No.
that was it. And see now, oddly enough, my father, I never got a whooping from my father. I come that close one time. Oh, I thought he was going to get his hands on me. What he did was he sicked my mother on me, and oh, she could dish out the discipline. Boy, could she! Oh man, yes. But I can remember asking my mother, "Can you let Dad discipline me this time?" She goes, "No, you do not. You think I'm tough? You do not want your father ever placing his hands on you." She said, "You do not want that to happen." Well, I got a little bit older and I actually saw him having to put his hands on someone that wasn't acting appropriately. And
Yeah.
then I realized, thank God he never touched me. Thank God. Boy, he would hurt you. He would hurt you in a bad way. And he loved children. Don't hurt a kid. Not with my pop around. Uh, okay, Chuck, we'll catch you later, buddy.
I remember
The
one time I got disciplined by my mum. It's the first time I've ever seen her that angry at me. And I'd come home from school. I had a bit of an attitude, and she said, "Oh, how was school?" And I said, "Well, I'm not going to repeat what I actually said, but I basically gave her a load of swear words and abusive language."
mm-hmm.
And she marched me up by my collar of my shirt, marches me up the stairs, got my toothbrush, got the soap, and scrubbed my toothbrush with the soap and put it in my mouth. And she, "You won't repeat what you said to me again, will you?" I'm like, "No." And she said, "You sure about that?" And she literally scrubbed my mouth with the soap and the toothbrush so hard, I literally had to gag and spit it all out. It was, I never ever saw my mum since. Nope. Not a good idea.
I,
No.
I can remember my mother doing that once with the toothbrush on the bar of soap and then popping it in my mouth. "Now brush your teeth with that. Now you got something smart to say?" No, no. And then she asked me, she goes, "Any questions?" And I go, "Can I get a new toothbrush?" Because every time I used that toothbrush for the next few days, it was like, there's still soap in them bristles, man. I
Yeah.
just know it is. Yeah.
My mum
Uh,
thought it was hilarious when she punished me. She's like, "You'll learn from this, won't you?" "Yeah." "What will you learn? Not to be rude and swear at you." She's like, "Yeah, I should think so." I was like, "Uh-oh."
yeah.
Never did that again. Nope.
Yeah. That, Ryan, yeah, that's so right. Show respect for the ladies and the kids.
Oh
And
especially growing up for me, like around my grandmother and my nana. Yeah, oh yeah, respect was given straight away because I was raised around older adults, so it was pretty much taught to be kind, considerate, and be careful
yeah,
what I say.
yeah. Um, there were many times when I grew up, I was Very, very rarely. It was so rare. I can't even recall an incident where I wasn't. I was always allowed to sit in the grown-ups' conversations. I wasn't allowed to participate. I was only allowed to sit in and listen, but I was not allowed to participate. When I'd open my mouth, my dad give me one glance, and I'd shut it right up. No, I'm there to hear, but not to be heard. And we respected that. Boy, you just knew no, I'm lucky they allow me that close in that I can hear their adult conversation. But they don't need some youngster telling them their perspective on things. They'll grow up and be in these conversations someday. But as a child growing up, you don't belong and that is something I see today. Let the kid have their say. Bullshit. Bullshit. And my daughter and her herd of 11 kids, her kids know. I'll tell her kids flat out, oh, shut up. You ain't got no part in this conversation. Stay out of it. Stay out of it. And they go, I've got something to say. Then go say it to somebody your age. Don't say it to me. No, you're not part of this adult conversation.
Yeah.
And they respect that. They've learned to respect that when Grandpa says, no, back off, you got no say in this conversation, they realize, no, they don't. And I think that's important. It's important. Yeah, just a raise of an eyebrow. Yeah, change your whole attitude, wouldn't it, Ryan? Yeah. That's so true. In today's world, the young folk ain't disciplined. And everybody says, well, that hard discipline, you're just ruining kids. They're disturbed and upset, and they're this and that.
That's rubbish.
Guess what? I lived through it, and I'm who I am today. And I think I've got more people that like me than dislike me, but they may not understand that it was that discipline that made me into what I am today. If I hadn't learned that discipline, I couldn't have been the person I am today. And I see these kids now, they're allowed to disrespect anybody and everybody, not just each other, but everybody, adults, elderly people, important figures in their community, pastors of churches, priests, disrespect them all. And the kid gets away with it. Oh my God. Oh no. What's Colin saying? I used to sit in also, but at times I used to say, be careful what you say, because you could hear the grass growing, meaning me. And that's it. There were a lot of times I'd be sitting in an adult conversation. Actually, I can remember one situation where my father had 2 of his police officers under him, and the 3 of them were having a discussion about a situation that was happening in town, and that would have to do something.
Bless you.
Oh, okay. That blew the paperwork off the desk. but they're having this very important police matter conversation, and it had to do with a juvenile delinquent in town. All of a sudden, my father stops his 2 officers and says, just a second. He turns to me and he says, what do you think about this situation? I sat silent for a moment because I'm usually not allowed to participate.
Yeah.
But he opened the door and said, yeah, I want your input.
Bless you.
Oh, Lordy. Well, that was the thing too, is if you were asked, then you should participate. They
Yeah,
want your
absolutely.
opinion on something, then you should give it. And
Yeah.
and and but he never asked my opinion on things he didn't think really mattered, where my input would help in the conversation, you know.
Yeah. I think that's
Oh,
what we need to realize is when you're asked to give your opinion, then you should step forward in respect and answer the question. But if you don't just insert yourself into the conversation.
oh, love you too,
Hello,
JCT.
JCT. Have
You
a good
have a
one.
good day.
Good to see you.
Yes. The and that's it. My pop's been gone since 1969, and even now, there's times I stop myself and I ask, I wonder if that would have made Pop proud, you know,
Yeah.
the because it mattered, you know, it mattered
Yeah.
whether or not the person that was raising you was proud of the things you did, you know. I know I did a lot of things he wouldn't have been proud of. He would have said, "Boy, I had to take you on back, kick your ass," you know. But but there were things that I know he would have been proud of.
For sure. So,
Ryan, I don't give my opinion now. I yell it.
yeah, Ryan, I'm similar to you. Like, if I have an opinion on something that's important to me, or I think it's important to, like, say, my YouTube family, then sure, I'll rant about it, or I'll be like, look, this is important to me because blah, 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 blah.
Right.
And then I let my viewers decide what they think. So then
And
they can give their feedback to me afterwards. So,
that's great. I do the exact same thing. There's times on my shows where I've said, "Whoa, wait a minute," and then I had my word. I'd shut everybody up until I had my word, and then I'd say, "Okay, now we can move on." But whether a person listens to what I say or not is their choice. But
yep.
but boy, don't ever try to shut me up.
Oh,
Uh,
no.
no, I
Oh,
won't shut up. You can leave, but I'm not shutting up.
I just like how direct you are because I've seen you do it before when I've been on your panels, and I've seen you say to someone, "Shush, I'm trying to get out what I want to say. Just let me say what I need to say." And you have people trying to go, but, and you're like, "Nope," and then
Yeah,
I'm like, "Damn, they've been told." Like,
right. See, Colin, you're absolutely right. The To be estranged from family in any way, it's a change in circumstance. And the thing is that's why I miss the old days the most. Like you're saying, that many have had different experiences. See, growing up, I found I personally know some people that turned out to be very, very successful individuals. If you met them, you'd adore them. They're respectful, they're kind, they're hardworking, and they came from the worst family situation you could absolutely imagine. The parents, lots of domestic issues, lots of problems, but yet they turned out wonderful, and their children are wonderful. How did that happen? They came from such a broken family. And it was because the other people in the community could see that broken family, and those kids were treated with respect, and those kids learned from the rest of the people around them. They may not have learned good habits from their parents, but they learned them from everybody else around them. And and now our kids are told, don't believe anything that the adults tell you. You don't have to listen to that crap. You don't have to do like they do. Back then it was, if you saw somebody's parents giving a darn about somebody else's kid and doing what they could to help that kid out, it made you feel good that somebody cared about that kid because you knew that kid's family situation. And you just don't have that anymore where people say, hey, we need to take certain individuals under our wing sometimes and help them along. And help protect them a little bit from that turmoil they're living through, you know.
I can say that for me, that with my grand specifically, Sty, you've been a big impression on me and influence on me because you helped me out during one of my hardest times. I was going through such my own personal hell when I lost my grandmother. I didn't know what I was doing. I was besotted by myself. I didn't know how to cope, what to say. I was a wreck, and if it wasn't for you and Samantha, I don't think I would have coped as much. Like, you were a massive turning point for me.
And you two were a massive turning point for me. So we're even. We're back even again, girl.
Heck yeah.
Hey, Owen, that's my grandson, by the way.
Hey, Owen.
Yeah, he's a wonderful fella. He's newly married, and they got a baby on the way. And
congratulations, Owen.
I'm trying to work out to go down and visit that part of my family, and it's just nothing is working out for me. While you're here, Owen, I haven't talked to your mother yet, Owen, but I was going to try to get down there this coming week before Thanksgiving. I don't think I can. It looks like it's going to be the first week of December. So it'll be right between Thanksgiving and Christmas. I'll get down there and see my family. And that's the biggest portion of my children. That's the daughter that has 11 kids, and Owen is one of them. And Owen is, everything's going awesome, Owen. Everything. Your grandpa is doing very, very well. And a big, always love you, and Skylar, his wife, love you too. They were a huge, huge part of my success in my whole cancer trip. They got me down to Rochester, Minnesota for all of my medical appointments there. They got me home. They helped me out when I was in the worst physical condition, and they were there for me, those two. And those are my grandchildren I'm talking about. That is so cool. That is so cool.
That's amazing. Oh, that is such a nice thing to say, Owen. That's so respectful of you. That's so nice.
He's a great grandson. He really is. Hey, Too Tall Rob.
Hi.
Yeah, tacos. Gosh, that sounds good, man. Tacos. I should be having me some tacos.
I haven't had tacos in ages.
Yeah, I haven't either. It's been a while.
I used to make them a lot with my dad, but I haven't made them in a long time.
Now I'm thinking that sometime this week I should make tacos. Oh, shoot. I'm having...
I need to do some more cooking videos on my channel. I haven't done a lot of cooking videos recently. I need to get back into... I started doing a Cooking with Gemma series on my channel where I cook different British meals and I show you how I prep it, how I get it, all the ingredients together, and how I cook it in the oven and saucepans. And I need to start doing that again because they got quite good views last time.
Yeah, you betcha. Yeah, you're right, Colin.
I'm a daddy's girl through and through. Like, I can admit that. My dad and me are quite tight. We do a lot. I'll actually show you. I've got a folder of stuff we do together over here. Oops. This folder, including these 2 loose football tickets, soccer tickets. This is where my hometown club that me and my father were going to the other day. And in this folder here is the last 2 years of stuff that we've done together. So this is like all our theatre books. So like everything that we've done, I've kept every single receipt.
Awesome.
And I've literally just filed it. Like we've got comedians we've been to, we've gone to castles, all sorts. But I've literally everything that I do with him is filed in this.
That's
folder,
cool.
so we can remember what we've done together. So yeah, that's what me and my dad do with each other. It's just something we've got to do for our family history as well. Keep everything that we've done with each other. So
That sounds pretty tasty there, Toot Doll. Now, the smoked buffalo tongue, some people would say, oh, yeah, oh, my.
yeah,
My-
I went to football yesterday. Me, my nephew, and my dad went to my dad's son-in-law, because my dad couldn't go, but we went to football with the spare tickets. So
Yeah, Ryan's saving his venison for next year. Yeah.
we have deers here, but I don't think venison's that popular over here. Not that I've noticed it.
Yeah. See, here in the U.S., we have such a huge deer population that there's so many hunters, and
Yeah,
so venison is very common for us. Lots of wild deer out there, and I don't get any venison this year, so oh well. I wish I had some venison steaks. I could. There's a certain dish that I make with a sauce. It's a tomato-based sauce, and you put that over egg noodles. It's a little bit spicy, not terribly spicy, but with venison and
nice. That sounds yummy.
yeah, it's pretty good. Yeah,
We tend
yeah,
to eat more beef and chicken here. A lot of us British people love our beef and our chicken,
yeah,
so we tend to eat more of that than anything.
yeah. Right. Our deer want to be eaten here. It seems. Yeah, yeah, they do. They do. And I think our deer want to get hit by cars here too. In all of my years, I've only hit 3 deer. And 2 of them I hit with the same damn car within a month of each other. That really pissed me off. It was a Cadillac. I had a beautiful Cadillac Eldorado. Yeah. Hit a big buck the first time and then hit a big doe the second time with the same car. Only did about $6,000 of damage on the front end of that car, but damn deer. That I think it was the car. The deer said, "Hey, we can't let that Cadillac go by here. We got to stop it," because everything else they didn't run out in front of. But boy, that Cadillac they sure wanted to get. The other one I hit was I had a big 3/4 ton truck with this big, huge bumper on the front. It was what we called a budger bumper for pushing vehicles around. Big, huge steel bumper with this big rubber shield across the front. And I hit a deer with that truck, and I felt it. Boom! Saw that deer go airborne flying off in the woods. Yeah.
Tutor says see away home.
Yeah, yeah. Deer magnet. The If you had a hunting license, and I said you could look for an imprint on one of the deer. Look at the belly for an imprint of the license plate. Yeah. Yeah, we have here, if you hit a deer, you have the option of taking it. Um, if you have the ability to call the sheriff's department, they'll send an officer out to the scene wherever you hit the deer, and they're usually there within 10, 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And they tag the deer for you, and you can load it up, take it home. The
I don't know how it works over here, but I know when we hit a deer, we report it, and then we usually are given the option of either the officers would take it to the local veterinary place, or we're given the option of keeping it. I think there's only been one time my dad's kept one when he hit one, but I think usually they take it to the veterinary place. It gets either put to sleep or treated, depending if it's still alive at that point.
Canton, the state of Wisconsin. I told because I hit a deer with that Cadillac, and the way I hit that deer, that was the doe. I hit her in the head and neck area. Boom. The body didn't get beat up. So I field dressed her on the side of the road, threw her in the trunk of the car, and was coming home. And a cop stopped me, and he said, "You can't take that deer without a tag." Well, actually, yes, you can under our state law. If there isn't an officer or you don't have a way to contact one, you can still take it. Well, he said, well, I saw where you had hit that deer up there. And he said, I could give you a ticket. I said, for what? And he said, well, for careless driving. You're driving too fast for that area because there's a lot of deer crossings. I said, well, will that ticket be more or less than what I'm going to charge the state of Wisconsin? And he goes, why? I said, well, does that deer belong to me, or does it belong to the state of Wisconsin? He says it belongs to the state of Wisconsin. I said, then I'm going to sue the state of Wisconsin because their deer smashed my car. I said, I want to be paid for all the damages on my car.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden it's, well, no, that's okay. You can have the deer. Yeah.
Yeah, I bet.
Oh, yeah. Too Tall's talking about fella on a motorcycle getting peeled off his bike.
Yeah, it's like, Rob, a few years ago when my dad hit a deer.
Is it motorcycle or if it was a bicycle? I'm not sure. But a buddy of mine.
My dad hit a deer on his motorbike a few years ago, and we rang the local police and stuff, and the police tried to claim my dad was going too fast. And they're like, well, you're going too fast. My dad's like, one, it's a private road, there's no speed limit, and two, the deer comes out in front of me. I was about to pull off, and then all of a sudden, boom, this deer darts in front of me because I had no choice but to hit it.
Yeah.
I couldn't stop in time. So they ended up giving my dad a fine, but my dad's like, that's not fair because it wasn't my fault.
Right.
I couldn't stop. So
that was a friend of mine. He hit a deer. He was doing about 50 miles an hour on his motorcycle, and deer jumped out of the brush on the side of the road right out in front of him. There was no way on a motorcycle he was going to avoid that deer. And he hit that deer right in the center, boom. And that deer knocked him off the motorcycle. Of course, the motorcycle killed the deer. And so the deer and the motorcycle are going down the highway, and my buddy was rolling down the shoulder of the road. He got so beat up from hitting that deer. He was in the hospital for 3 weeks. And his insurance company was trying to say it was his fault. And finally, his attorney got them to settle and give him his insurance money. But he needed his insurance company for the motorcycle to say, yeah, it's covered, because his health insurance was saying, if they deny you, we're not picking up the tab. So, yeah, they're going to get you one way or the other. They're going to get you one way or the other. I hate to do it, folks, but I think I'm going to have to wrap it up. I'm feeling awful hungry.
Yeah.
And I've got some things I got to get done. It's hard to believe it's already starting to get dark here. It's only 4:15 here in Wisconsin. 4:15 in the afternoon, getting dark. Winter's upon us. I got to get used to the fact that that's the only reason I like snow in the winter, is it gets dark so early and it doesn't get light till late. Such short days, but with all the snow and the street lights and stuff, it looks pretty well lit, Hey, I want to thank all of you out there. It's great to see you, every one of you, Cullen, Too Tall, Ryan, all of you out there. It's awesome. It's been a fun afternoon. Great Sunday as far as I'm concerned.
It was a pleasure to come spend time with you. I love being on the panel and seeing everyone in the chat.
Yeah, I was just going to make a special thank you to you, Gemma, for coming and hanging out for the whole stream. It was a blast. It was a great way to spend my Sunday afternoon.
Me too.
And folks, I'll be here next Sunday, no doubt.
Yep. Me too.
So all of you, take care of yourselves during the week. Stay safe, stay happy, stay healthy. And don't forget, Sty loves you. Now I'm going to go grab that girl in the fur coat out on the front porch, and I'm going to dance my way out of here until next Sunday. Till then, bye-bye, folks.